so much for joining today's stream. We'll just give it a few wee minutes and let a few more people get in, and then we'll get started. So if you just bear with me, we'll be a couple of minutes and then we'll get going. Okay, let's send this link across. Okay, doke, fabulous. So we're just waiting on one more student joining us and we will get going. But I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time out today to join us. My name is Michelle and I'll be guiding today's session. So I have worked at GCU for 2 years now. I've got a lot of information in that time, particularly in regards to our facilities and our support services. I'll essentially be a glorified switchboard for you today. If I don't have the correct information at hand, I will transfer you to the relevant team that can kind of help you out on any problems. Today, we've got 5 of our fantastic, if I say so myself, student helpers with us. And current students at GCU from a range of different courses and different year groups across the university. I will be passing over to them shortly to give a short introduction for each, so you all know what they do, what they study and what they get up to here on campus. So today our session is all from a student's perspective. So any questions that you might have regarding what it's like on campus, what's life like as a student, work-life balance, how to kind of manage your studies. You're going to get those kind of like direct, honest, clear-cut answers. Obviously, you can speak to myself as a staff member. I can give you all the stats and the figures, but the students can tell you how it really is and what it's like to study here at GCU. So with that, I see that we do have a little issue. I believe that we've got 2 students that are coming up under the same name. So you'll just have to ignore us for that. It's the links that we've been provided are just coming up with 2 names, but we'll do introductions and you'll find out who everyone is as we run through that. So with that, I'm going to pass you over to our students who will share a wee bit more about themselves. If you guys could please let us know what course you're on, what year you're in, where you're from, and if you do have any wee fun facts or anything you want to share about your experience at GCU, please do so. If we start with you, Caitlin.
So hi, as Michelle said, I'm Caitlin. I am a second year doing paediatric nursing, just about to go into 3rd year. And I am from Falkirk, although I'm currently in Aviemore, so I'm getting all the sunshine. I don't think it's like this in Falkirk at the moment. And I think one of the things that sticks out to me at GCU and just on my course is how hands-on we get to be. We get to go out to placement and we get to just really get stuck in practical classes and just, getting a feel for what we'll be doing in our job.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Caitlin. I'll just go straight down the line here for the order I've got in. So that would be Libby, if you would like to go up next.
Well, hi, I'm Libby and I'm currently 4th year, study international tourism and events management. I'm from Glasgow, and the highlight of GCU for me is going to summer school abroad to South Korea. Is that it?
Oh, amazing. Sorry, it was me. I was so slow to get my mic unmuted there. It's taking ages. We've had a wee hello in the chat. Hi there. Just a wee note for everyone. Please feel free. Right now, we're just running through introductions, but any questions you have, pop them into the chat and we will get round to them later on at our live Q&A session section. So throughout the session, just pop them in. No worries. We'll pick them up before we finish today's live. Great. So I'll move on to Paul next, please.
Hi, I'm Paul. I am a 4th year student in psychology. I'm from Livingston. A fun fact from uni for me is how easygoing the professors are when you get to meet them. I've met them on a quiz night with this society, and they're very, very human, which I think is excellent.
I hope everyone got that. I don't know, for everyone else that came across a little bit broken and robotic, but it came through at the end. I got what you said there, your lecturers. Thank you very much. So next I'll move on to Katerina, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Katrina and I'm currently on year 2, human nutrition and dietetics. And highlight about uni, I really love like everything we do at the course. It's very hands-on experience, as Kathleen already said, in my course as well. And we do lots of like cooking, talking to people about diet and stuff. And also I'm so excited about all the opportunities we have for societies. And one of the things that I done when I came to uni, we actually with my friends started our own society and we've been so successful. So it's really great to have these opportunities.
Amazing, thank you so much. And just to check, Katerina, as well, whereabouts is it that you're from?
Oh yeah, sorry, I haven't mentioned I'm from Ukraine and the society we started is Ukrainian society. And as I said, it's really cool just to gather around and feel this cultural vibe about it. And also events which we do, welcome for all the students and they find them quite exciting to dive into different culture and experience it.
Oh, amazing. That's so good to know. I'll need to pop by and get some Ukrainian dishes and recipes and things like that from you all. And last but not least, we'll come to Margaret, who currently I know is shown as also Katerina, but we don't have two Katerinas. This is Margaret, so I'll let you introduce yourself to everybody.
Right, my name is Margaret and I'm a fourth year pharmacology student at GCU. I'm also from Glasgow, so a bit closer than Ukraine. And I think a highlight from GCU, my experience at GCU is the support that the university offers for academic reading, writing or wellbeing, which is certainly beneficial if required.
Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll dive into just a few wee questions to kind of get us started and warm us up. So if anybody kind of really wants to answer the question, just pop your hands up. Otherwise, I'll just select a few of you from the crowd. So I would like to know, first of all, why was it that you chose your course at GCU now that we know that what you all study? What was it that made you do that? I know it'll be different for everyone. Might be the campus stood out. You always wanted to kind of study that thing. What was it for you that made you choose GCU and your course that you ended up doing? Libby, you want to go?
Yep, I'll just answer that. So GCU for me was the closest campus compared to Strathclyde or Napier, which is in Edinburgh. Because I've experienced stuff at Glasgow University and Strathclyde, I felt like that GCU was better in supporting me as a student. And because of the course, I was able to go through pathway. So I skipped first and second year because I did that in college. I went straight into third year in GCU, which gave me that offer that I was able to skip the first 2 years rather than repeating it again, which was amazing. And then, of course, how hands-on the lecturer is to help me and push me through to achieving uni.
So you came direct in third year entry?
Yes.
Okay, good to know. If anyone is looking at kind of coming through that way, then please do kind of reserve any questions for Libby. Would anyone else like to answer why they chose their course? Caitlin?
Yeah, I'll chip into what Libby said. Just obviously, there's differences in courses wherever you go, but at the end of the day, a lot of the academic stuff is quite similar. But the support kind of contrast that GCU seemed to have, especially when I was sort of coming to these types of events and hearing other students talk about how much support they'd had from GCU, the wellbeing team and like the learning disability team and such. They just seem to have a much bigger emphasis and a much bigger kind of they held that to a really important standard to be supporting the students in all aspects of their university life, not just focusing straight on the academics. And yeah, just how much they kind of valued being in person and being kind of like moving away from all the online stuff that we may have done a few years ago due to COVID. They were very big on let's all be in person, which for any of the practical courses particularly is very important, but even just socializing, it's important to be in person with people. So yeah, that was kind of where I was coming from.
Yeah, I know some of you will have had a bit of a unique experience if you joined during COVID, but we are all now back, kind of as you say, on campus and running again. So I think that, like you say, it is much better for students to kind of get to know each other and enjoy the university experience a wee bit more. Are you guys happy for me to move on, or does anyone else want to answer that question? Katerina, please.
Yeah, so I actually chose this university a while ago, first of all, and then I was thinking about different, like even countries and stuff, and GCU was one of the choices. And then things happened that way that I moved to Glasgow, and I was quite happy about it because I had to choose. I had this opportunity to study there, and the course I'm choosing in is very practical, and it's so good that we actually had these opportunities to do everything in practice. And after our placements and after all the practice we have on campus, it's very easy to find the job, actually much easier than if we don't have these placements and stuff. And GCU very supportive with these placements, especially for health and life sciences students.
Yeah, it's definitely good to know when you're starting a course that you feel like you're definitely going to get a job at the end of it. Like, that's definitely something that's going to build your confidence. I wouldn't know because I personally studied musical theatre yonks ago. So for me, that was a hope, a wish, and a dream for a career. But I think, like you say, with the practical kind of side of things, it gives you that wee bit more confidence for sure. Hello in the chat. We can see you coming in. Any questions we will be picking up in our live Q&A, so please feel free to keep popping them in. Okay, great. So I would like to move on to my next kind of pre-prepared question here. I'd like to know, what was it that surprised you most about starting uni life? If you take yourself back to when you were a little baby first year, or when you came direct in, year 3 entry, and you didn't know anyone, what was it that kind of you were like, oh my goodness, this is really different from how I expected, if anything at all? Anyone? Paul?
The biggest shock for me is when you first walk onto the campus, it kind of looks really massive and huge. The biggest shock for me is how easy it is to actually navigate that space, and how your individual course is normally in a building, so you don't have to know every single space in the university. So that was the biggest shock for me, is how small and it can feel when you're there.
Yeah, no, so right. Because even joining, I think you come on for like an open day or a campus tour, and like your step count after a campus tour, if anyone's in Glasgow, I'd really recommend coming for an in-person campus tour just for the workout, just for the steps that you get. Because honestly, you can fill about 10,000 steps on a tour about an hour long. But like Paul said, you do very quickly learn the space. I suppose it's similar when you join school and you're a bit nervous and it feels really big and brand new. And then before you know it, you just know where you're going and it's dead easy. Although none of us guys have any excuses because we're the campus tour guides, so we should really know the campus anyway. Does anybody else have an answer for that question? Was there anything else that stood out for you? Yeah, Caitlin?
So I think probably one of the biggest shocks to me was just how friendly, like I wasn't expecting lecturers to be rude or anything, but I think kind of how much of an effort they make to get chatting to you and to get to know you as a student, and kind of build like good rapport and stuff like that with the classes. I'm not sure how it differs from the other classes, but for my classes, other than anatomy and physiology, which is a huge big lecture, all of our other classes are quite small, which means you can get very kind of close with the people in your class, and then the lecturers all get to know you, which from a support point of view is really, really helpful, and just helps you. It allows you to be able to ask them stuff if you're really confused, if like to ensure that lectures and stuff are making sense. They're just, everybody's very approachable.
Yeah, I think especially when you're coming straight from school, come straight to you in a wee second, Katerina, you don't really understand what that looks like in regards to like being treated like an adult by your kind of teachers or your lecturers as now, which I think definitely you've kind of captured there. It's like, oh wait, these people are just friendly, like they just want the best for me in my studies, and it's not this like big scary thing. I'll come to you now, Katerina.
Yes, it was quite a lot of things actually stood out for me, and similar that staff were very approachable. And yeah, like first of all, it sounds like all big lecture halls and stuff, but then you can like ask questions, and if you have questions even about a bit different that you like done on a lecture, they were happy to help. If they know the answer, if they don't, they will happy to do the research for you. And also the other thing that was quite important for me, I wasn't quite confident, about like my mental health and stuff, and how this affect my university studies. But then when I went to well-being support, they supported me quite well, and I was impressed that university actually do this, because I thought it's only GPs who can help with that. But university well-being support helped me much more than doctors. So definitely recommend for everyone who like feel like they need to, and you never need to tell any of your friends if you don't want to. But if you have any like issues or even questions, you're more than welcome to access the services.
Yes, definitely. I think that's a big thing with university as well, is like the support is all there for you. It's just a matter of you accessing it. And I think that's something that can throw people a little bit about coming to university, is if you're feeling overwhelmed, you might be a bit more used to like student teachers or kind of college lecturers stepping in. Whereas because it's so kind of important that we were focused on independent study at university, it's more for you to kind of be a little bit more proactive and look for that help. But as soon as you reach out, the help is 100% there for you. There's so many different support services and so many different drop-in times and ways of contacting them that the help is 100% there. Now, I'm aware we are getting quite a few wee questions in, so I'm actually going to take some from the chat. And throw to kind of the most relevant people, and we can always go back to other questions if these ones stop dropping in. I do see that there's a couple of specific questions regarding people's CAS or visa information. We don't have the answer for that in this room. I wouldn't want to give you the wrong information. So what I'll do is I'll link you to the relevant team. I apologise that, things might be moving a bit slow with the team just now. There's a lot of kind of moving grounds and things happening with different policies. But the team are on hand for any queries that you have. So if I just pop in the chat here for yourself, I believe it was Veronica, and if you reach out to the CAS team, they have an open line as well as an email, and they will be in touch with yourself as well if they require any further information. But no one here is able to give kind of individual responses regarding your own applications. Okay, I see here. Is there any specific department, council, or society that supports with investment or knowledge to students for a potential project? Thank you so much for asking that, Mohammed. It's a great question. We do have a brand new part of the university, which is the Entrepreneurial Hub. Have any of you guys had any experience with the Entrepreneurial Hub yet, or even seen it going by? Yes, Margaret. It looks really fancy. You
Michelle, you
I,
can read
personally,
yourself.
I personally haven't used it myself, but doing campus tours, the people that work there have invited the tours in to have a look around. So as Michelle said, it's new for 2025, so it's open to all current GCU students, whether that's in Glasgow or London, and alumni students, and it is a hub for entrepreneurial ideas. So if you have a project or an idea that you want to kind of explore, the hub can offer you a space to do that. They offer talks, so and we get someone that has either been an entrepreneur who has entrepreneur skills or is an entrepreneur to come in and give talks, and I think they happen once a week during term time. And then they also have grants and funds, so students and alumni that have ideas for maybe a business startup or something that they've already kind of started up themselves but want a bit more help and support to grow, they can apply for the funding to allow them to grow. Also, for we also do have societies for kind of each course, and I think we do have a risk and finance society as well, so it might be a good opportunity to network with those students as well.
Yeah, definitely. The Entrepreneurial Hub is great. It's open to staff and students as well. So I know a wee bit about it. Basically, any idea, sometimes you'll be walking down the street and you're like, I have this brilliant idea for a business that no one else has ever thought of, obviously, and I could definitely be like a millionaire from this. But then you're like, I've no idea how to start or where to go with it. That's what the Entrepreneurial Hub's there for. So you can go to them with probably the most craziest business idea, and they can give you like proper advice and like insider knowledge on how you actually take that from an idea into a full-on business, and they'll support you throughout that. And like Margaret said, there's lots of events and things to get involved with the Entrepreneurial Hub throughout the year. They also have drop-in sessions. I popped the wee link in the chat for that there. So I think that if you have a wee nosy through there, you probably see something that will pique your interest for that. And of course, societies and things like that as well are great for networking. Now, Caitlin, to put you on the spot, we've got a wee question specifically for yourself as a nursing student. Eric is asking, is there anything you'd recommend to do in the next few months to prepare for coming into this course? Any training, volunteering, resources, and also separately, what is the career support like? So we can come to that question once we've went to you about preparing for a nursing course.
Yeah, so I would have said I came straight from high school into nursing, so had very little kind of clinical experience before. I had been out doing kind of work experience in a nursery because I was initially supposed to be a nursery teacher. So it kind of does depend a little bit on which field of nursing you're going into, what would be most beneficial for you. So I would suggest, if you have any opportunities, to go out and kind of work with people, whether it's like children, if it's children's nursing, or if there's learning disability kind of opportunities over the summer. That's always a benefit, just to get your kind of people skills up in that aspect. From a kind of more academic point of view, I'd only done Nat 5 biology before I came to uni, but that in itself was a really good foundation kind of level to help with all this anatomy and physiology stuff to make sense. So if you can even get your hands on like a Nat 5 biology textbook, or just even like the BBC bite-sized stuff, that's a really good thing just to skim over, just to kind of get all that stuff back in your head. And it does help kind of make all the groundwork stuff make sense from anatomy and physiology, because I do feel like that is the biggest confusing part. And then from the academic writing point of view, the uni is very good. We start kind of very much with the basics. You're not expected to know anything before you go into it. But just kind of going over anything from even sort of higher English sort of level kind of stuff is really beneficial. But yeah, you're not expected to know anything. You go in there totally brand new, everybody's on the same page, so there's not anything crazy they're expecting of you. Often if there's first aid courses in and about kind of near you, that's always a good thing to have as well, just to kind of refresh that kind of thinking style. But yeah, that's what I've got.
Thanks so much, Caitlin. Hopefully that'll help as well. I think before you come, you can be a wee bit like, oh, what if I don't know everything? Or you think, oh, I need to super prepare. But like you say, everyone is in the same boat and everything is provided for you when you get into the course. So also I noticed that you'd asked a wee question there, Eric, about what the career support like. Has anyone had any opportunities to network or do work shadowing? And obviously we have our career service as well, which is there to support from first year all the way through to fourth year. A lot of people I know do leave it to kind of fourth year, but I would be curious to know if anyone that's here today has had any experience of utilising the career service so far in your studies. Yeah, Margaret, you're nodding yes.
Yeah, so in pharmacology, we have the option of doing a placement in third year, but we have to find that placement ourselves. So it's not a bit like nursing where the placement is kind of attached with the university. So I needed a CV and a covering letter to send to primarily pharmaceutical companies and research institutions. And I didn't have a CV. Or a covering letter to the career service through a series of appointments helped me build a CV and covering letter and a LinkedIn profile as well. So I had the best chance of securing a placement, which I ended up doing. They also offer a lot of support for students looking for part-time jobs as well. They have a board on our Glasgow campus that has a lot of part-time jobs, graduate schemes and internships. Some courses focus more on internships than others. It just kind of depends what you study. But it is definitely a source that some students don't utilise as much as they should, and it's definitely worth checking out when you go to GCU.
Yeah, I would say as well, just to add on to that, there's so many different networking opportunities and different events and things that are across the university, across all courses to help you advance your career or just generally to network. So I would always say it's really worthwhile to follow the social channels. To when you get here, I mean, I can put a link in just now. We have an Instagram and a lovely gentleman called Stuart Martin who's behind all of the student channels. So any events or networking opportunities that are happening across campus will always be posted on our Instagram, our Facebooks, our in-house student channels. And I would always say make use of those as well. Just because you're not on that course, you typically find a lot of these events are open kind of to any current student. You also, like we said, have the career service, and I think it's great, obviously, in fourth year to kind of help you actually find a job post university. But also, you can go from year one, as soon as you're through the door, you can set up an appointment with the career service and they can help you maximize your time at university as well. Maximize is not a word, maximize is the one I wanted. So you can kind of utilize that throughout your experience and they can help you find opportunities and whatnot as well. And then, like Margaret said, you've got part time jobs. So even what we're doing today, there is like opportunity for work on campus. If you're looking for any way to support your studies, you've got that option as well of different kind of part-time jobs, and the career service is there for that as well. I'm just going to have a wee read through here and make sure I've not missed anything. I am aware there's a few specific questions about CAS. As I've said, guys, I really unfortunately can't give any information about your individual applications and where you are on your CAS journey. And it really does just differ through so much from year to year. What I can assure you of is the team are so on it. They sit in my department and they will be in touch with everyone. They were scheduled to have webinars this week, but we had to rearrange and postpone these due to kind of unforeseen circumstances. So please be patient with them, and they are on top of everything. They know that you guys are waiting and they will get through to you on an individual basis. Let me just double check through here. Any questions I've missed? Can we talk about the Department of Social Innovation? If you would like to know anything specifically about the department or about studying, especially in the School of GSBS, then please let us know. But we could probably draw on for hours about like what we might know about specific kind of departments. But it's probably better if you've got a more specific question. Does the Caledonian Court have a curfew? Not that I'm aware of. Does anybody have any information on Caledonian Court?
No, they don't have a curfew. They do have a gate that kind of is locked and you have to have your key card, although it might have changed how they kind of, there's some amount of security and it kind of, I think to the best of my knowledge, it does get shut after a certain point, but you can still get in. You just need to make sure you have whatever ID necessary to let yourself back in, because there's 24-hour security that's at the gate, but there's no curfew.
Yeah, totally. Obviously, at university, you are a fully grown adult. We're not going to dictate kind of when you can come and go, when you can live your life. If you want to go on a crazy night out and stroll in at 5 a.m, you're more than welcome to. Of course, it is locked. You do have the secure key card access, as Caitlin said, but that's mainly just the same way that you would have a key to get into your door. It's just for the safety of everyone, but they're not there to tell you that you can't come and go, or you have to be home by a certain time or anything like that. You're totally free in that regards. Can we tell you more about international recruitment? So I can tell you what I know about international recruitment. We did have some international webinars yesterday, which we can send out, and there will be broadcast links for those. So I would kind of recommend that you have a look at those webinars, because they kind of cover everything from your first 2 weeks. I'll also link in the chat here. We've got some information for international students, especially your introduction weeks. But one thing I will say before I kind of throw to anyone else that's might have anything about coming as an international student is that you are so well supported. Whether you're coming in September or January, we have a PALS program. I don't know if anyone here has taken part in that, but essentially when you come, you are buddied up with someone, sometimes in your course, not always in your course, but usually someone that will have something in common with you that's a few years above, that's a home Scottish student, or sometimes a student that's been at the university for a few years and lived in Glasgow and can talk to you about what it's like to live in Scotland and really help get you settled here. They're on call for you over kind of your first sort of term to sort of settle in. There's also so many events that are run specifically for Intro to GCU. This year they're running all the way from August all the way through to the end of Halloween. So I would recommend following the student life. I'm going to put that in the chat. Eventbrite, because they post all of their events on there. A lot of their events are totally free to join. And it's a really great way to kind of get settled in to Glasgow and to your studies here as well. Have any of you guys been involved in the PALS program or done
have.
that? Yeah.
So I did senior PALS, is it called? I think it is. I did that when I came into third year. That helped me a wee bit, but I didn't have much questions because I already knew my way about what I needed. And then, of course, as I said, lecturers are really supportive in any aspect you need for any helps. On top of that, there's also senior buddies or global buddies, where you're assigned. There's two different types. There's this social aspect where if you want to go for a night out or go to different tourist spots or attractions, they've got people that would show you around. There's also another aspect is where they try and align you with someone in your course if they're signed up as a senior buddy to look after that student for that full entire year. If you've got any questions, they're able to help you or guide you where you need certain questions answered, because not all students know every single answer there is, but they are able to guide you where the right place is or the right person to speak to.
Yeah, and Mark, oh, she's back. Did you say that you'd also taken part in the PALS program?
Yes.
Yeah, so like Libby said, you get put into a WhatsApp chat, or it could be moving to Teams by the time our students join us, and basically it's a way to kind of make friends as the chat is filled with course mates. So you'll be put into specific chats, whether that's undergraduate or postgraduate study, and you can ask. The chats are monitored, so obviously university guidance is obviously in place, but it's a good way to make friends if you've got any questions, if you want a bit of advice. And then, like Libby said, if there's other types of chats that if you want to know a bit more about, socialise about Glasgow. And then you've got global buddies as well, which is something different to PALS, but it's to support our students coming to GCU.
So, in regards to how you get connected to your PAL, that's done through a registration form, which will be sent out to everyone that's joined these sessions. We're going to be including that into our broadcast. That's got the registration link for you to fill out, and you're connected before you come. So, it's the university that will connect on your behalf. So when you come, they'll be prepared to meet you, introduce themselves, and get you settled on campus, as opposed to you sort of starting and then figuring out that process afterwards. It's all sort of done for you coming. I see we have another question here about, in comparison with other universities, how much stronger is the School of Computing than other universities in the Russell Group? So you're talking about like University of Glasgow and things like that. I am not here to slay other universities, so I can only speak for GCU's kind of from their prerogative, if you will. I would say that the School of Computing Engineering Built Environment, what's really unique about it at GCU is that you're working on the machinery that you will be working on typically out in the fields. Our university, we have a huge building at the very back called our Charles Oakley building, and that basically houses the majority of the equipment that the School of Computing Engineering Built Environment utilise, and it's often rented out and used by professionals. So we have engineers and every form of engineer, mechanical, built environment, any we've got hydraulics, tubes, we've got the whole works. Unfortunately, it's the one thing that I don't have too much kind of information about in regards to, like, I don't know, I've never studied in the School of Computing Engineering Built Environment, and I've not seen the the environments that they have over in Glasgow University, but I do know that the equipment is very, very good at GCU, and as we say, it is used. You're working alongside people that have already graduated years ago and are using the same equipment that you're working on. Does anyone have anything to add on that? None of us are really skilled of computing, unfortunately, engineering built environment. No. But I would say, obviously, do you know what I mean? Do your research and see what you think. We'll be more than happy to have you on for a virtual tour or an on campus tour if you want to kind of see the equipment and get inside. That's one thing that I'm really proud of at GCU, that we're able to actually show you the equipment on our tours and things like that. I have done a few sneaky little tours at Glasgow and a few sneaky little tours at Strathclyde, and I've not so much as seen past the front building, unfortunately. I've only been shown the outside of the buildings. So I don't know if that was unfortunate on my half or what was going on there, but yeah, please do reach out if you do want to see that equipment in those areas of campus. Do we have any other questions? Has anyone seen any that I've missed? There's a little bit of back and forth.
So it was a question about the job. I might be able to answer if I understand it correctly.
What question was it?
So Eric asked about the job during university.
Was it about the HCA? I think that one, Katerina.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's talking about working in the hospital as opposed to working kind of on campus. And if you've got more to add, Katerina, jump in after me. I was just going to say both have very big benefits. I think it's really good to understand a hospital environment before you come to uni and go into placement. You'll be given such a good head start and will be very valuable to other people around you. I think the only thing I would really have said is I definitely appreciate being able to do a job that's not working in a hospital because you're on placement so much. Like having a bit of contrast is definitely quite nice, and a bit of variety, and can definitely build other skills like confidence and speaking to sort of bigger groups of people, and just general kind of time management and problem solving, just in a kind of different aspect than you would do in a hospital. But it's not really to say that one's better than the other. It's just kind of what works for you. Both the HCAs, if you're on the bank, and kind of working with the uni, are quite like casual hours, so you can sort of pick and choose what suits better for you. So it's kind of more what you prefer, I would have said, unless anyone else is going to contradict me.
I wouldn't contradict. I think Katerina had something to add on, so I'll fling to.
Yeah, so it's mostly like the same as Caitlin already told. So I have friends on my course who are like working at the moment in the hospitals. Most of them working as nurses, and they're quite happy about it. But it's obviously depends on what you want to do and if it's job connected to what you want to do in university, or it's maybe something different. And also just thinking what you will gain and what you will lose when you're like working along the uni, or when you're having some time off and focusing more on your studies and working, for example, on campus or something like this. So yeah, just think about what will work for you best, and obviously you will know better than anyone here about your situation.
What I would also just add on to that as a wee caveat is there's not always necessarily a need to choose one or the other, especially with the campus tour work and the student ambassador work. If you were to undertake a role at the university for an on-campus job, as you said, that work is entirely casual and flexible around you. So there's no sort of, I mean, I know here today, obviously Caitlin is a nursing student and goes on long placement, so isn't always as available to work as regularly as maybe she is during the summer and things like that. So that role just kind of trickles on. It doesn't dry up because you're away on placement or because you're busy elsewhere. So once you're kind of in, there's 3 different kinds of student ambassadors. Also, just to switch into Mohammed's question and to answer them both together, you've got your mentors program, you've got your student ambassadors, and then you've got your campus tour and event guides. So you can work across all 3 departments. You can pick and choose 1 or 2. There's interviews at different times of years for them. Typically, there's a big intake for a few of them kind of summertime, either at the start of summer or right at the end of summer before you start back at term. and it is all quite casual. So how it works is we'll put out a shift. If you're available for it and want to work it, then you request that shift, and we'll confirm that or deny it depending on kind of what suits or demand. But it means you kind of got that option of both. And I don't know if you guys want to talk a wee bit about the work that you have done on campus. I think it's a great way to make friends and meet people across courses. So yeah, I'll swing to you, Margaret. I know you're involved in all of them.
So, like Michelle said, I am involved with all of them. I've got all the hoodies in my wardrobe. They're all slightly different. So for the student ambassadors, which is, as Michelle said, there's multiple, but the actual name student ambassadors, it's an electric blue hoodie, and we work on campus. It's only for undergraduate students, unlike mentoring and then helping with events. The student ambassadors only employ undergraduate students due to the workload a master's would have, and we basically work on campus for student-facing roles. Student mentors is a red hoodie. If you've ever been on our GCU campus, you probably wouldn't have seen the red hoodies at all, as we work mainly out in the community. So we focus on either primary schools or high schools in and around the Glasgow area, focusing on widening participation and outreach. With primarily school children and college students. So if you were transitioning from college into GCU, any level, whether that's going into first year or a direct entry into second or third year, there'd be support for you via the mentoring. And then you've got student helpers, which we all are in our purple hoodies. And I'll let Michelle explain that, because that's Michelle's job to organise us all and to organise what we do to help.
Well, I was actually just typing a wee response to you there, Eric, but I'll just read it out loud instead then. So yeah, so I run the campus tour and events team. So essentially we work in recruitment. So we're here today, obviously talking to you guys and letting you know about GCU and giving honest answers. Essentially, I think out of the three of them, mine's is maybe the easiest, but I say that as an extrovert and someone that's got a big personality. Like you say, some people might want to kind of be in leadership roles or build and support roles that kind of fluff out your CV a wee bit more, in which case I think that there is opportunity for that through doing the on-campus roles. You've kind of got the mentors really kind of helps you with that support side of things when you're dealing with students that need that wee bit additional support. And then for my role, it really helps build confidence. So we've got our tours and events. The campus tours obviously run once or twice a week, and then our larger events are kind of dotted throughout the year. And I've got loads and loads of students who only work like the big open days or the big applicant events. And don't do the kind of in-between tours. And that's just a wee bit of extra money and a big, like, it's a great thing to put on your CV if you've kind of supported an event that's got upwards of 2,000 to 5,000 students attending. And also just builds confidence. I think a lot of people kind of do it to put themselves outside their comfort zone and get that wee bit of extra for the CV without, taking too much out of their kind of day-to-day studies and things like that as well. So I can delete what I wrote there now. I'll just go back. You see me like a little mole in the corner, like typing away. Does anybody else have any questions? We will be around for the next kind of 5 to 10 minutes anyway if anyone crops up with anything. But I would kind of in the meantime like to just ask you guys, because I think it's quite nice to finish on if no one does kind of pop up with any more questions. If you have any advice, like one piece of advice that you would give someone either thinking of applying or maybe already about to start university, what would be your wisdom that you would pass upon them? Yes, Libby.
Don't be afraid to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. That's also one thing I say to everybody, even if it's a secondary school pupil or primary pupil, even college as well. And I was like, if you don't ask, you don't get. I learned that as well, like throughout my education. I was like, if I don't ask, I don't get what I need. And it's for your benefit. It's not for anybody else's. It's for yours.
Fabulous, guys. I have to grab my other laptop charger because this one's failed. So if you guys are okay to just run that through, I'll be right back in 2 wee shakes. I'll run to you next, Katerina.
Yeah, so I want to tell just study and actually focus on your studies. Lecturers often tell us that it's a lot of work you need to do at home, like revise and stuff. No one actually taking this too much into consideration. it's not like, compulsory to do this, but it will benefit you a lot. And while you have this opportunity to do this course and to focus on your studies, just do this. And yeah, you will always have opportunity to like go to parties and stuff.
Katrina, you've muted
Sorry.
yourself.
Yeah, sorry. Just focus on the studies while you have this opportunity, and yeah, just as Kathleen said, as Libby said already, just ask if you're struggling with anything, and nothing worse than spending all summer preparing to recite exams. So I just better have out of the way while you have like actual exams. So yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
back.
jumping onto the back of what you said, Katerina, just making the effort to go into lectures if you can. Don't just skip them because you know what it's all about and you think you understand it. If you can go to them because they're on for a reason, and it does help you understand everything better, even if you think that it's all just common sense. Yeah, trying to make as much effort to be in uni as you can does really help everything just set in your head, and just listening to what the lecturers are saying and kind of asking questions when you're confused just does help it all consolidate.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Sorry for my little quick departure there. I'm back. So I see that there's not been any more questions. So please, guys, take the opportunity now. If there's anything that you're not sure of, or there's anything that you're thinking, like you think, oh, I want to ask that, but it feels silly. There's no silly question, especially here with the current students. Like they've been through it all, they've thought it all themselves. So anything that you've got kind of on your mind, please feel free to ask. But otherwise, we will wrap up in around 5-10 minutes. And obviously, we thank you for joining today's session. Any further questions that you do have regarding kind of life on campus, if you do want to come and see the tour, if you're interested in any of the open days, if you are just a prospective student, then please feel free to reach out. I'll put our email in the chat here so you've got access to that and you'll come through to myself. As I say, even if it's not super relevant, if it's Kaz, please don't ask me because I've told you I don't know the answer and I'm very sorry about that. But if it's anything that you think like, oh, I'm not sure who I go to about that, then please do utilize this email and I'll kind of be your switchboard and direct you to the correct place. Okay. How does student recruitment work? So what do you mean from our side of things? In terms of student recruitment, it's not going to be very relevant to like a current student, kind of how we're taking in students. There's a lot of different ways that we sort of recruit students, as much as we've got people that just want to come and join us, which makes it really, really easy. And I think sometimes the vibes and the university and what it stands for sells itself as well. How many hours do we all read a day? Me, if you count emails, a lot. If I can throw to you guys just to talk a wee bit about the part-time jobs available. Have any of you guys used the career service at all for? No. So that's something I would say, Bridget, that you can kind of utilize when you get onto campus. I would go to the career service that's on the Student Lifeline, which you will become very well acquainted with when you first come to campus, because that is your be all end all of where you need to be and where you're going to go. And they have a big job board there that's full of part-time opportunities, as well as kind of a team you can drop in on and talk with if you're looking for any specific sort of roles. I know that Eric earlier said he would be looking for a specific sort of role. That's something they can kind of support with as well. Okay, lovely.
On top
Hi,
of that,
Libby.
they would also share that on their social media. So if it's whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram, they always put the availability going, or they're hiring or whatever the job is. They will always share it and promote it towards the end of like uni term, because that's where more jobs are more available for people. Even throughout the year as well, they've got tons going on.
Yeah, definitely. Am I unmuted? I am. Paul, I see your hand up.
No, just more on asking how many hours we read per day. It really depends what we're doing at the time. On psychology, we read quite a lot because we don't have placements. So a lot of our work is research, but it's obviously a lot of reading the literature and doing reviews and stuff. So it really depends what you're working on. How many hours a day? Maybe 4 or 5 hours during term time is roughly what I would spend going through research and stuff.
Lovely. I do want to also note that our virtual campus tour is about to start as well. I don't know if some of you have already signed up to that, which means that unfortunately myself and Libby are going to have to drop off and leave you now because we're setting up for our campus tour. But please, if anyone is interested about any parts of the campus, then please come across and join us over there. We can continue to answer any questions over there. In the meantime, I'll leave you with Paul, Caitlin, Katerina and Margaret, who will be able to answer any questions regarding student life, the student experience, anything you're nervous about for university. Just to reiterate, individual questions about your CAS we cannot answer, but there is a link in the chat for the cadet team for you to go to for that. But I'll thank you very much, and I'll leave the others to kind of answer any questions and give their own little bits of maybe information or advice they want to pass on before the live ends at 2 p.m. Okay, thank you very much for having me, and I'll pass on over to you guys.
To answer David's question in the chat about deferring till January if a deposit has been made, again, that's not something that we can advise on. Your probably best bet would be to ask when they're dealing with your CAS. It depends on reasons why you would want to defer it and if that was possible within the course that you want to study.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed, for coming in, and thank you everyone who came in and who leaving just now. And if you have any questions, also just feel free to ask while we're here.
So I think Sheila's just put a wee question saying, can you all please tell us something that we should know? are you able to be a wee bit more specific, Sheila, just in what you're asking about, even if it's the course that you do, just so that we can try and give you some information that's a bit more relevant, or if you're just talking about general university life, that would be good. And somebody else has just mentioned about deferring their admission. I think, as Margaret had said already, that is not a question that we can really answer. And I think she'd mentioned that it would probably be more to do with the CAS people.
CAS and admissions, as Michelle said earlier on the feed, we don't have anything to do with the admissions or CAS process, so we know nothing about it. If you want to get in contact with the admission teams, you should be able to find their contact details online, and they will probably be holding webinars and sessions over the next couple of weeks. But as Michelle said earlier, they were due to be held this week, but unfortunately have had to be cancelled due to unforeseen circumstances.
Fab. And in reference to what Sheila was asking, I would say just try and balance your time the best that you possibly can. Just making sure that you're not spending all your time studying, because that, it just becomes really overwhelming. But just try and time keep throughout sort of your studies, so make sure that you're dedicating your time to getting any kind of reading done for classes, and just having a good kind of uni life balance would be my best advice.
Yeah,
Leading.
Sorry. More question, Michelle? Okay.
No.
So I want to jump in a bit about like uni life and stuff. So yeah, first of all, you get in like Freshers Week, which is quite a lot of information about societies you can join, all the support available on university. So if you have opportunity, definitely join in a couple of days of this. So you know a bit more about campus, where to go, what support available, and everything like that. And then after that, we have like official start when you get in all your timetable and your first lectures. And if you'll be in a first year, all lectures will be more like introductory in a first kind of teaching week. But it's really, really, really important to go to them and like actually join, because it will give you overview of what you will be studying during the year. Also more about how the module will look like, what the assignments, assessments, everything like that. And then you just obviously go into your classes and while having the breaks, doing your assessments if you need to do them kind of like in your own time or preparing to exams. So, and you don't normally go like all 5 days to uni. It obviously depends on your course, but more or less you will be having like 3 or 4 days of your classes. And then usually you have like 1 or 2 free days when you can like catch up with your studies or do your part-time work, or like do society jobs and stuff like that. And we have like 9 to 5 hours, but you don't normally have 9 to 5 classes. You just have classes in between that time.
That's fab. So I think we'll be wrapping up in the next kind of couple of minutes. So if anyone has any last questions, just pop them in the chat. But otherwise, we'll be wrapping up in the next couple of minutes.